It's incredibly hard for me to pick just one project that I'm passionate about. I mean, my biggest passion is Zeega as a whole, as a project that's inspired by the idea of what can happen if the whole internet and people's creativity and how they can think about the web as a place that they can make their own, and how they can take the things that are out there and then they can take the things that they themselves have and combine those in new ways. I just love the experience of experimenting and what we're trying to make happen with this project.
So this event was on human rights, universal, interdependent and interrelated. So the whole issue was to discuss how we can promote human rights with the current instruments and within the current framework.
I find it's important to hold side events as youth delegates to show presence first, that there are people, that there are young people first being concerned, being interested, and then also being constructive.
We had many different discussions on the issue, also since we're coming from different study backgrounds, and we thought why not make a panel discussion that reflects those different approaches towards human rights.
Our colleague from UN Women, Dane, was pretty eloquent at promoting the universality and the need to keep the universalism in mind if we want to reach a more inclusive world.
Is to start to appreciate the universality of duties alongside the universality of rights, because it is through that we recognize a universalism of everyone having a responsibility to respect the rights of each other. Without that, human rights is actually a far narrower thing.
Dominic Packer, talking about identities, about the formation of identities, and how social norms can affect change and can affect institutional change.
What I study are group identities, how people define themselves in terms of the groups that they belong to, how those groups can be formed. The human species is a very groupy species. We like groups. Some of the best parts of life are in groups.
Maya Saoud spoke about her advocacy lab. It's an amazing project, a grassroots project here in New York, looking at how you can promote human rights education amongst young people.
False charity to me is doing something that you think is seeking out to help, right? But in fact, what you're doing is addressing the issue on the surface.
And then Leo Castillo, our colleague from OHCHR, sort of give us an overview of how we got there in terms of human rights instruments, really emphasizing the cumulative approach.
If you go back to the Universal Declaration, Article 15 says everyone has the right to nationality. Many countries around the world that actually have ratified international treaties, they do not recognize the mom passing on the nationality to their children.
So Ahmed Paul raised the issue of maybe some, difficulties and challenges of pushing for a certain agenda on LGBTQ, for instance.
That I have provided over and over again through the explicit inclusion of sexual orientation and gender identity in said declarations, resolutions, is that there are a set of characteristics that everyone exhibits. Heterosexuals, homosexuals, pansexuals. They don't pertain to any one demographic or a single group of people.
Why we invited the artists and also what they spoke about was the fact how multi-dimensional an identity can be.
I come from two sides of one coin that never stops spinning. The revolving door of change and revolution. Brooklyn is the mountaintop. Palestine, my bloodline, come from a culture of ambidextrous as they come.
I would say it was good because even if the side event couldn't deliver a specific answer to that topic, it showed up or brought up the complexity of that topic.
I loose my curls at night, lift the window, and leave myself on the screen. I read Lorca in the Spanish, pondering his beard of butterflies and until I feel feminine enough to sleep. Thank you.
Today's event is the first formal in-person kickoff since the DPLA has become live.
I think what today is all about is giving us a chance to reconnect with the DPLA community.
It's a very exciting moment in the history of this startup, and it's got lots of positive energy and lots of things we still have to accomplish.
We had thousands of people during the planning phase that were so important to creating what DPLA is today, and this gives us a chance to get back in touch with them.
I think DPLA is important for American democracy. In very simple terms, the creation of a national digital library system created by the private sector and public sector coming together will strengthen local communities and it will strengthen the way in which we participate in our democracy.
I think the key to DPLA's success isn't the technology, it's the social aspect to it. It's really a collaborative project, and we've been so lucky to have so many partners. Over, I think we are at 18 hubs, which are big aggregators of content, and over 1,000 different institutions that have been a part of this, contributing materials together, and so many other people who've contributed ideas, time, energy to the effort.
The title of the session was Using a DPL for Advanced Research, and we had, I thought, a really productive discussion about focusing a lot on how you could link the data and use the data, connect the data to, and the DPL to other available projects. I thought it was very productive and interesting.
I'm doing a think tank with 2 other co-leaders on the future of libraries, and it's a think tank, so it's very participatory.
The variety and diversity of the stuff that's in the DPLA is amazing. You can use it to expand the scope of the class and the research that I'm doing. I'm used to using research libraries that have a very specific focus, and the DPLA has a much more diverse body of materials.
What we've asked the groups, we've divided them into about 6 small groups to discuss the different issues. We gave them scenarios of possibilities for libraries in the future, and they've been charged to discuss the top issues and to come away with both a summary of their discussions as well as 2 items for a list. One, to be able to say what can be implemented immediately and what is a more futuristic implementation of a technology.
I guess my specific session, the only thing I'd have to say is what was really great for me is I'm not naturally a digital humanities person. This is where I'm coming from from a more traditional research perspective, and I thought it was a very welcoming and open discussion that allowed me entry in a way that I haven't seen in a lot of academic conferences, so I was really impressed.
It's just been an incredible day. We had 700 people sign up to come, and you can just feel the energy. When I got up on stage this morning, first thing, there was just a lot of smiles in the crowd, a lot of people who know each other, old friends and some new friends who have worked on the project, so I think it's wonderful to get together and have a chance to do this in person.
Well, I hope that people from many different walks of life, whether representing a particular community group from a particular racial background, or someone who is representing funders, or people who are representing large institutions, I hope that they will all see a place for themselves within the DPLA. This is a community-driven organization, and one where we want lots of participation from smart and devoted people who want to volunteer their time and their treasure, in the case of philanthropists, to make something that's truly in the public interest.
If someone hasn't had a chance to say hi, happy to do so. Pick up stuff on your way out, and thanks again.
What has technology inspired me to create? Technology encourages me to go beyond my comfort zone in what I learn.
Technology is still inspiring me to create a new kind of learning and education for younger generation.
It's also inspired me to get more youth voices out there.
To be creative.
Technology has inspired me to create, more than anything, new ideas.
Technology has inspired me to create a documentary video about my relatives in Europe.
I use technology to create an international news hub for people of my age and also younger people.
Today is the first day of the General Assembly. I feel very excited before I come to work today.
A lot of heads of states and civil society and representatives from NGOs and private companies, they all come together.
We're just ushering all the press, the photographers and the videographers into the Security Council room. So every country from the 15 countries allowed one photographer and one videographer.
How you doing, Carlos? Nice to meet you. I've seen you around.
Oh, so I'm here to help the radio section to film the delegates, and they're gonna come to the radio station and do interview with the people here.
I'm helping the MALU, Media Accreditation Liaison Unit today. I'm helping them to escort the press to the JHAL, Trusteeship Council, Security Council.
It went really well, and I'm really excited to be here, and I got to see how the radio is made.
This room is called the UN Foundation Digital Media Lounge, which is hosted by UN Correspondents Association. So a lot of bloggers and reporters and correspondents, they come here and write their stories.
The social media team set up a social media zone, and we also set up a Twitter wall where the tweets were live streamed to this wall. But in order to get those tweets true, we also had to monitor the tweets.
I've been searching around to make sure this place is safe from explosives.
Why is it important that Hector's here? What does Hector do?
He's trained to find explosive, 7 different types.
The police will come and they will screen all the media, all the cameras and everything to take them to the Ban Ki-moon office.
I mean, there's never really a break here. There's not kind of an allotted break because everyone's coming into the doors all the time. Press are always wanting to be escorted somewhere, sometimes where they're not supposed to go, and that's what we're here to kind of delineate between.
Well, right now these journalists are heading over to a photo opportunity at a delegates luncheon here at the United Nations. So they're getting ready to go and sit with all the head of states that will be eating, and they're going to be snapping photos for their respective countries.
Yesterday I managed to somehow within the same hour run into both the President of France and Leonardo DiCaprio.
I got to see Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Who are you more excited to see?
You know, honestly, at the moment, Leonardo DiCaprio, but in retrospect, I think it was the President of France.
I met Obama. I met a different president. For example, I met the president from Turkey.
I've bumped into a few presidents, and so it's good. And I'm Iranian, so I also saw the Iranian president.
Also the Prime Minister from Norway. She was lovely.
The highlight of the General Assembly week was to have all these world leaders, to have leaders from different industries come here and gather and discuss, talk about their actions.
You have an opportunity to be part of something that is huge, that is bigger than you.
Interns are genuinely, they love being part of this community.
It's just really cool to see something so important, so global happening right in front of your eyes.
I feel involved to the world and the global movement.
The most important thing, I think that I'm learning a lot.
I think it's really great that the United Nations is basically an institution where so many people from different backgrounds and cultures work together.
It was just the biggest honor being able to volunteer for the General Assembly.
I had a really good time, and I think I'm gonna remember this week all my life.